Right, Armsmaster's like, she's a thinker 7. And, like, Legend's like, oh, fuck that. Like, that's a bad rating. I'm like Mr. Lasers. Like, get her out of here, right? Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
So we read Extermination 8.7, which was actually a really exciting chapter. I kind of loved it.
Yeah.
Obviously, some stuff happened that Taylor wishes hadn't happened, but I was kind of really into actually everything that happened.
I was like, Jenny, if you read this chapter, you have to finish it. Don't just read the first half of this chapter and then stop. Which I think was the right advice.
Absolutely. If you don't keep reading through Tattletale's speech, like, you're just going to be so upset.
Yeah. And this isn't the end of the arc. There's another chapter.
There's one more chapter.
So it's
I can't even imagine what's going to come next.
It's very exciting.
I guess I'll have to try to imagine, but right now I can't.
Yeah, we can start out by talking about what has already happened.
All right, should I summarize this chapter for us? Okay, so Taylor is where we left her on the floor of Sophia's room, because Sophia is Shadowstalker. Taylor spends a while thinking through the implications of this, decides that, like, Emma must know, based on what she's seen before. And then she gets grabbed by the neck, and it's Armsmaster, sans arm, one arm, Armmaster, as we have dubbed him. And he's really upset that she's there, kind of marches her over to the nurse's station, slams her down onto the counter, and Legend is like, Armsmaster! And he doesn't like the show of force. And Armsmaster tells Legend and Miss Militia that Taylor was in one of the rooms and saw a hero with her mask off, Shadowstalker, and gives Legend a little background on who Skitter is. And Taylor's like, it was an accident, but Armsmaster says that Taylor has a history of lying very well and evading his lie detection technology. We're going to get back to that. Legend says, this is very serious and presents some options. One option is if they decide she did it deliberately, she could be jailed, and breaking an Endbringer truce usually results in going to the birdcage. Another option would be joining the wards with various probationary measures in place, and Taylor just says no, flat out. She's like, I would rather go to the birdcage. And they're like, whoa, okay. And Taylor asks, is there a third option? And Armsmaster yells at her, like, you don't get to negotiate. And she's like, what, you get to yell, but you were mad at me for yelling? And he's like, we have the authority here. And then Gru shows up and is like, the only authority you have is the authority people give you. And the whole Undersider gang is there. Tattletale.
What? They're alive?
Yeah, they're all alive. Gru is fine. Tattletale says she's 90% well. Alec looks a little bruised. Bitch looks physically great, but Taylor knows that, like, emotionally she's got to be a complete wreck. Taylor's really surprised that they came to her defense, and Gru calls her a teammate, which he's really pleasantly surprised by. And they refuse to leave. And finally, Miss Militia continues the explanation of Taylor's options in this situation, the third being collateral, which would mean that the hero whose face she saw would see her face in exchange. And Taylor's like, yeah, no, that's not going to work. The fact that it's Sophia just, like, takes that off the table before any other considerations can be considered. And Tattletale says, okay, well, you've made a good case. Let me make mine. And Legend is like, let me get more information on this group. And Armsmaster's like, well, she has some sort of knowledge-based power and is a master manipulator. And Legend's like, yeah, okay, take these guys away. And Tattletale does some sort of dramatic, like, fine, you never let me talk. And Miss Militia leads them away. And Legend is like, all right, well, you have to pick one of these three options. And then the armbands in the vicinity start talking. It's Tattletale saying, like, oh, is this on? And says that Miss Militia is holding her at gunpoint, and if this broadcast ends suddenly, you'll know that they decided to end the truce by shooting me instead of having me reveal their dirty secrets. And Legend and Armsmaster, like, run over and bring Taylor with them. And Tattletale pauses the announcement. Miss Militia explains to Armsmaster, she somehow knew your password to the armband. Wild. And Armsmaster, like, reaches for his halberd, but it isn't there. And Tattletale says, let's negotiate. And gives them her three options, which are, you can shoot us, Pretty much that's going to end the truce. Even if it's not lethal, people are going to make assumptions. Second option, I can do my little announcement, and that will end the truce. And the third option is that they can let Skitter go. And Legend's like, well, you could be bluffing. And Tattletale tells them what she would have said in the announcement. Apparently, Alexandria gave her a recap on what she missed of the action in exchange for her intel on the Endbringer, which, side note, I'm so glad that one of the heroes got Tattletale's intel on the Endbringer.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. And Tattletale has the armband play the casualties before the clock blocker pause, and then the casualties after, and there are a bunch right in that first minute. Manpower, Aegis, Fenya, Kidwin, Skitter, Kaiser. Taylor says, well, my armband broke, and Tattletale's like, well, did it, or did someone shoot an EMP at it? And she claims that Armsmaster set up a situation that would give himself a one-on-one fight with Leviathan and set up some villains to get murdered in the process. And Armsmaster is like, this is the kind of manipulation, and Legend's like, elaborate. Such a good moment. And Tattletale explains how Armsmaster set up the playing field the way he wanted it, dangled Kaiser as bait for Leviathan, and Leviathan went for it, and headed towards the spot where Skitter was, and Armsmaster didn't care if, she died. What's one villain dying if he can defeat Leviathan, except it didn't work. And Armsmaster's like, this is a lie. And Tattletale's like, take Skitter's armband. It will show evidence of the EMP hit. He's like, that would take weeks to check. She's like, okay, well, take me into custody and I will go to jail if you find out I'm wrong. Either way, you'll have one jerk in prison. And Armsmaster lunges at her. And Legend shoots him. Yes. And then Miss Militia, he doesn't really do any harm. I think it hits his armor. But he's down, and Miss Militia points her gun at his face and says, wow, I knew you were tired and, disappointed that your dream was being taken away from you, but to go this far? And Armsmaster admits it. He says it was for the greater good.
Yes.
If it worked, it would take out Leviathan and the head of Empire 88. Yes. So he did, in fact, he admits that he set up Kaiser to be killed, which is a serious breach of the truce.
Yes.
And he's like, the survivors would have been legends, and the city would have risen from the ashes and become something great. And Tattletale's like, it would never have worked. You could detonate an atom bomb in Leviathan's face and he would recover.
Yeah.
And Armsmaster's like, you don't know everything. And Taylor's like, oh no. And then he tells them Taylor's secret. Taylor tries to get Gru to shut him up, but Gru doesn't act fast enough or chooses not to. And Armsmaster tells them that Taylor is a wannabe hero, has been from the start, told him that she was going to join their group as an undercover agent, talked to him again the night of the gala, out on the balcony, and said if I let her go, she would give me the details on your boss as soon as she found out. Guess she hasn't gotten that yet. Taylor, can't even find the ability to speak. Armsmaster gives this really insulting speech about her, which we will talk about. And Gru asks Tattletale if it's true. And Tattletale says yeah. And we get sort of Bitch and Regent's and Gru's reactions. Obviously, none of them are happy. Tattletale's the only one who doesn't look surprised, which I would like to say I predicted. And Taylor just, backs away. No one stops her. The heroes are busy with this whole Armsmaster thing. The Undersiders either can't or don't go after her. And everyone else in the vicinity is staring at her, including Panacea, who is looking at her as though she's from another planet. Mm-hmm. And Taylor just turns and runs. But she has nowhere to run to. Such good drama.
Yes.
It's okay, on the face of it, it's upsetting that the Undersiders found out Taylor's secret. If I had known ahead of time that this was going to happen, I would have been horrified. But actually seeing it happen, and especially seeing that Tattletale knew, I feel like that did make a difference for me. Seeing it happen, I was like, yeah, this had to happen.
Yeah.
She had this whole thing in Arc 6 where, I'm going to form real friendships with them, but it was still based on a false foundation.
Yeah.
If she is ever going to get real friendships with them, I don't know if she is, but if she ever is, this has to be out in the open. Right. They have to know this.
Right.
This can't be this secret she's keeping from them, even while she tries to be honest in the present.
Right.
And it also, the fact that Tattletale knew, I have said this, many times, maybe Tattletale just, knows she won't betray them, and is
right. Or
this is cool.
How could her power not have told her? Is
yeah,
also what
I think I asked that in her
again.
interlude. I was like, she can see all this stuff, but she can't see that Taylor was planning to betray them. And I'm so curious, and I'm so bummed that we didn't get that in her interlude, though of course we couldn't because it was waiting for this moment. But I want to know what her thinking was. Mm-hmm. Is it that her power told her, like, she's planning to betray you, but she probably won't? Is it that her power told her, like, she thinks she's going to betray you, but really she wants to join you because she so desperately needs friends, and she's the kind of person who will be very loyal when she becomes friends with you, and Tattletale decided to take the gamble? It's possible Tattletale knew from the first night and wanted her to join the group anyway. I think that's actually more likely than Tattletale finding out along the way, because if she welcomed Taylor to the group thinking, like, great, a villain friend, and then found out, that would be more disruptive and upsetting than if she'd known from the beginning, but was like, but she's a good bet.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Well, the time from that first night with Loon to the recruitment pitch was less than a day.
Oh, yeah.
And very driven by Lisa.
Oh, so, certainly. Yeah, she's the one who sent the message or posted the thing on...
Right.
What is it? Capes.com?
Yeah, that's an interesting theory.
It's not Capes.com. What is it?
Parahumans Online.
Thank you.
Parahumans Online. Yeah. I mean, hopefully, after this chapter, you can see why Tattletale's my favorite character. And it's too bad that she never comes back into the story. And
it's
Taylor
too bad she's 90%
Lisa,
better, but that 10% is going to kill her in the next
never
5
talk
minutes.
about this again, and we never find out any of the answers to these questions.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it's so exciting. I mean,
she keeps so many secrets, Tattletale does. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
The layers.
And if we do get some of those answers, right, it's been such a joy rereading this, because I know a little bit more to be able to look at the various scenes.
The dramatic irony.
I know that she knows, right?
Yeah.
Which maybe we'll talk about at some point when it's appropriate to do so.
Yeah. I could definitely see her having figured it out at some point later and, like, in a position where she had time to reflect and was like, oh, but this is fine, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely wild. So I think my favorite part of this chapter, though, was seeing what an absolute asshole Armsmaster is and seeing him get his due.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
His fellow heroes, as they should have, turn on him, which, we've seen a lot of crap from heroes.
Right.
Nothing that Miss Militia or Legend do in this chapter makes me think ill of them.
Yeah, okay.
They act as heroes should.
I was going to ask, yeah.
They're severe with Taylor. Well, Legend is severe with Taylor. I don't think Miss Militia particularly is. Mm-hmm. Which makes sense under the circumstances. They don't have, they don't have full information. They have to assume the worst. And like Legend says, if you were unmasked, you would want us to take it seriously as well, which is all true.
Yeah.
And when they find out that Armsmaster has broken the truce and set up some people to die so that he could get this one-on-one fight with Leviathan, which of course didn't work, and that he specifically set up Kaiser to die because he wanted him gone.
Yeah.
Like, they react appropriately.
Yeah. Well, it's funny, Taylor actually is a little harder on Miss Militia, and I think it says a lot about her mental state, but I really loved this moment. You mentioned in the summary, Armsmaster brings Taylor over by the scruff of her neck and just, like, forces her down. And for the first, like, half of the chapter, she's just, like, face on table, just, like, listening and talking, but basically pinned there. And he's like, Armsmaster! Legend's tone was a rebuke to Armsmaster for the show of force. More able to take it in stride than the leader of the Protectorate, Miss Militia asked, what happened? Which I love that Taylor is so cynical right now. She's like, well, Miss Militia is obviously okay with the violence inherent in the system. At least Legend's back, has the courtesy to be offended.
Funny, yeah.
Which I do feel like, honestly, of the three of them, and I know we've been inside Hannah's head, so it's easier for me.
Yeah.
Like, I sort of know she's a straight shooter.
Yeah,
but, when she takes over the conversation to, like, finish the explanation, I feel like she's so good at being just, like, really matter of fact and just, like, trying
Here's what happens in these circumstances.
Right, exactly. Giving kind of, like, the reasonable explanation that if she had had a reason to talk to Taylor at the beginning of last chapter, things would have gone very differently.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But we need to talk about Armsmaster a lot. But while we're talking about Legend...
Yeah.
I was just really curious, did you have any other feelings about Legend in this chapter or, like, thoughts about him?
That thing where he said, elaborate. When Tattletale's like, there was this really shady thing that Armsmaster did, and Armsmaster's like, you're full of lies, and Legend's just like, elaborate.
Yeah.
It was just so satisfying. I know I said that in the summary, but I loved it.
Yeah. One of the lines that stood out to me was that Tattletale spins her whole thing, and then Legend's like, except that you could be bluffing. Legend frowned. You're a master manipulator, according to Armsmaster. And it's really funny to me because it's like, you could read it as like, Legend's like, not the quickest wit, and he's like a little behind, and he's like, but aren't you a liar? Right? Like, or this is already him.
He's already being a little dryly humorous.
Right. He's already just kind of like going through the motions a little bit. Right. So we don't get it quite enough to know where he's landing there. But yeah, right. So, it's possible Legend is an easy mark for Tattletale, but I think it's what you were saying. He's sort of knows Armsmaster, and like, this is so plausible, right? He's willing to hear her out, and Armsmaster's being weirdly hostile, right? One other observation that I had about him, right, is there's a little bit of like, Legend is one of the triumvirate. Mm-hmm. Here he is talking to Skitter, and he's laying out all these options, and it feels very like backroom dealy. Like, there's not like a procedure, right? Like, it's a little bit like he's like, here are the 3 options, and we're gonna talk it out, and like, whatever you choose now, right? Like, I feel like he's really trying to have this heart to heart, and I almost feel like as the scene goes on, he's almost like acting a little bit as like the judge and jury, like almost similar, not in a lot of ways, but he has a similar authoritative role as like the principal in that scene. I was just gonna say, where like the structure here is informal enough that what is going on here is, can you get Legend on side, right? Yeah. And that's something where Armsmaster totally fails and Tattletale totally succeeds at. Yeah. And it's because he seems very cognizant of the optics. Yes. You could read Legend as being like, you shouldn't be that violent, Armsmaster. Or, more cynically, you could read that as, Armsmaster, this looks bad. Control yourself because this looks bad. And as the optic stuff plays out, right, like, he's obviously aware, more so than Armsmaster, of how bad this looks. Yeah. And that is the thing, right, like, if Tattletale is good at cold reading, she might be able to tell that stuff is bothering Legend, right, as she calculates her next moves.
I don't know that we have any reason to think that most of what he does here is about the optics. It's a fair reading. I think it's plausible. I think it's also possible he's like, why are you slamming this girl on the desk? Like,
and I want some of the heroes to be like actually good guys. It can't only be Hannah, right?
But it doesn't seem like he's like, okay, what Armsmaster did was fine, but how can we get out of this without?
No, I agree. And once they turn on him, it's so clear that he's horrified. Yeah, he's genuinely upset with the man and not just the optics. But the last question before we move on to Armsmaster is, what option do you think Legend picks? Right?
For Taylor,
if they don't get interrupted this way, Legend does kind of say like, look, I'm giving you a choice, but at the end of the day, I'm going to pick, right? So if the options are, what was it? Birdcage, wards, collateral. What do you think Legend goes with?
I don't think he'd force her to join the wards, because you don't want someone in the wards who doesn't want to be in the wards. That doesn't really work. Yeah. Forcing her to show her face feels more of a violation of her rights than sending her to trial, to whatever. Yeah. So I think the thing that he should choose is, we'll turn you over to the justice system. So much for backroom dealing. We were trying to cut you a deal, but you didn't take it. I think the thing he would choose is forcibly unmasking her. Just because I think he is paternalistic enough to think this is the outcome that would be best for her. Yeah. Even if she is trying to like throw herself to the birdcage for some reason, like whatever, she's a teenager, she is making a stupid choice. Let's just take her mask off and let Shadowstalker see her face. Yeah. That's going to be better for everyone. Yeah. I mean, I don't know, like, surely Taylor would have had a reaction to that, and maybe it wouldn't have played out that way, but I think that's the option he would have gone with. Because that's the option he thinks she should choose if, for some reason, she doesn't want to join the wards.
Right. I feel like, I mean, I guess I know a little bit more, and we don't get to find out in this moment what he would have said. I do wonder if, given that going into this situation, it really seems like Legend, Miss Militia, and Armsmaster were going to pitch the Undersiders on becoming wards.
Oh, yeah.
That he might have done a really hard sell on the wards thing. I don't think that would have gone that well.
Right, yeah,
but to me, that's the one of the three that I would pick, but I was really curious because we didn't get to know. But
okay, that's fascinating, because now that you say it, you're right that Amy was like, going to talk to all of you. I can see why, given what Armsmaster knows, they would have wanted Taylor to join the wards. I guess maybe just because they're all underage, it's an easier thing to be like, we'll put you on probation and in the wards. But, like, the others are, like, actual villains. Like...
Yeah, well, again, because of the way things go, we don't know. I mean, maybe that's just what Amy was saying. Amy's very unreliable,
yeah, that's
right?
True.
But I would imagine also it's the kind of thing where if you can, like, get Skitter, then that's kind of leverage over the others, and then they have different options, right? So, like...
And trying to reclaim teenage villains might be a thing they try to do.
Yeah. Yeah, we can... I mean, there are lots of what-ifs that we may have time to get into, but I feel like there's plenty to talk about with what
I want to talk about Armsmaster.
Please.
Okay, so what he did in the actual fight, Tattletale lays it out, pretty terrible. I want to talk about what he did in this chapter. He is the most hypocritical. So he starts out like, Skitter is a liar. She's told me a lot of lies, like, very successfully gotten around my, like, detection systems. Yeah. And then when he's talking to the Undersiders at the end, he presents her entire, like, wannabe hero thing as if it's true.
Exactly.
Because he does think it's true.
He believes it.
He does believe it.
Right.
He was just saying that she was a liar because he was mad at her and wanted her to look bad because...
Yeah. Well, and, I mean, he presents her to Legend as... she's a liar, you can't trust anything she says, like, she's so evil, right? So, why is he this angry at her now? It's really interesting because he doesn't know that his spot's going to be blown up.
Right.
Skitter being a witness is not, enough for her to put the pieces together. But they are trying to, I guess, I think, trying to bring her into the wards, which maybe he doesn't want to happen. So he's trying to, tarnish her reputation. But it's like... what else do we learn about him, right? He's feeling utterly humiliated by his failure.
Yeah.
And he thought he had successfully murdered Skitter so that he could take out Leviathan, but he failed to do that. And she's a living reminder that this was a person who I viewed as disposable, who is still here. And, like, it's almost a testament to his humanity that it bothers him, right? But, like, I think she represents his failure and some of his guilt over, the price he was willing to pay.
Yeah.
That she's still alive.
I mean, it's just that he sent Leviathan down that street and Leviathan could easily have killed her because he didn't think he'd killed Skitter.
No, not like he'd killed her directly. But I think he thought that she was dead. Yes. And thus... until
she brought him his arm,
It's an open question whether or not Armsmaster said, you know what? You know who I want to put over there? Kaiser, Fenya, and Menya. Maybe I'll put Skitter over there too.
She's a problem.
Right, yeah. She's a problem. Right, so we don't actually learn that 100% here, but that's very plausible to me. And I was thinking about this and chatting a little bit on Discord. I think that Armsmaster clearly didn't want there to be any chance of another cape interfering, right? So if Skitter was known to be there, he had to know she was dead before engaging. And it seems very plausible that he might have seen Leviathan blow up a Skitter-shaped swarm of bugs in the moments before engaging. So he probably actually thought he saw Skitter die.
Right, that's why... Oh, of course, because he said, you're dead, and he knew her armband.
He knew that the armband had been knocked out by the EMP.
So he thought she was dead. That's so true.
Right.
So he was frustrated that someone saw his failure, I guess, and potentially could have interfered.
Even the fact that he thought he saw her die and he was wrong. Yeah. Like, she came up with a cool technique that he didn't know about, right? Yeah. Like, that's also gotta hurt.
I thought maybe it was also like, they were going to go talk and make nice to her, and then she escaped and saw a cape's face, and that was a big problem, and he was annoyed about that. But I think your thing makes more sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible.
And he's probably just in a terrible mood anyway, and Skitter's someone who's pissed him off in the past, because he thought, I'll defeat Leviathan and I'll get my city back, and he didn't defeat Leviathan.
Yeah, and the way that he reacts when Lisa is like, it never would have worked. Right? Like, that's gotta hurt most of all. Right? Like
your calculation, like all of that was wrong.
And he wants there to be like, if I'd done something differently, like if Skitter hadn't fucked it up for me, if all these other people hadn't fucked it up for me, like I could have had that moment. And then Lisa at the end being like, nuh-uh, buddy. Like your plan was doomed to failure. I think that is, even just the fact that Lisa is pushing that button means like that's what's going on with Armsmaster earlier, right?
True. Yeah, so speaking of him hating Skitter, so he first calls her a liar, which it turns out he does not believe. Then he blows up her spot in front of the Undersiders, and then he tries to use it to paint her as a terrible person in front of everyone, which doesn't even make sense. He's like, you want to look down at me? Look at this person who pretended to be a villain, but she was really a hero spying on some villains. That's despicable.
Ready to betray her teammates for fame. The thing that I want.
You know what it is? It's the thing that Amy said to Taylor, like, if you're suspicious of me, it shows you're a bad person. The fact that he jumped to, she was doing it for fame, is just telling on himself.
Yes. And he says, I mean, it's such a dumb, like, macho man thing. He's like, she didn't have the balls to go through with her plan. And like,
it's like, what do you mean? She's still doing it. Like,
right. And the one thing we know about Taylor is that, as Armsmaster means it, she has huge balls. Yeah. Right? She's like one of the most courageous people.
Yes. Yeah, and there's nothing in what he said about Taylor to actually make her look bad. He just needs a scapegoat in this moment. And he's so bad at this game. He doesn't manage to pick someone who he can make look bad. He can make her look bad to the Undersiders. He does get revenge on Taylor and on the Undersiders, but like he doesn't successfully make himself look good in comparison at all.
No, he's also brilliantly the source of the exposition of capes that betray an Endbringer truce get sent to the birdcage. It's just like,
well,
maybe you shouldn't have confessed.
That's where you're going. Yeah, no, seriously. Oh my gosh. So I am so into the moment, speaking of how nobody probably really thought Taylor was despicable, except maybe the Undersiders, the moment when Panacea is staring at her at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Panacea just got this speech from Taylor where she's like, yeah, I thought that everything I was doing was right at the time. Maybe the ends didn't justify the means. Maybe I was wrong. But, like, I feel like I was, trying to be a good person. And Amy was like, you're deluded or stupid or whatever. And now she's hearing, like, oh, crap, she was an undercover hero who was planning to take down the Undersiders the whole time. And she told Armsmaster that and was working on getting this information on their boss. Oh, maybe I was wrong.
Interesting. Yeah,
you don't think that's what she was thinking?
I just think that Amy would weigh her personal experiences with Taylor against the new information.
Yeah, but Taylor didn't... Like, Taylor's worst crime was being Tattletale's ally.
I mean, the spiders...
She did put spiders on her.
All the other
that's
stuff,
true. No,
right?
That's true.
The terror, right?
Yeah, she put spiders on people.
Her
that is
innocence.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She threatened to kill people with spiders.
Yes, that's true. Yeah. That's true. But, like, I feel like that's not the kind of thing where you're like, an undercover hero would never do that. Like, that feels... Her sister regularly almost kills people. Like...
No, yeah, of course. I don't want to short sell the potential for an Amy change of heart or anything like that.
I just have always felt like they would be really good friends if Amy knew that Taylor was trying to be a hero, and now she knows. And I hope that down the road they can be friends, because they're both, like, really intense in kind of a grim way, and I think they would do well together.
That is a good observation. And you're inviting a really fun question about the meaning behind these labels and, like, whether people can escape the ones, escape first impressions or escape the ones they've assigned themselves, right?
Yeah.
Like, Taylor is sort of out as a wannabe hero, but she herself thinks she's a supervillain and feels ashamed enough of what she's done. She doesn't want to talk to Danny about it, right? Yeah. So, like...
But she's going to get more cred from the heroes if she ever needs to approach one at this point. Yeah.
That's probably true. I mean, it's a weird, like... All they know is what Armsmaster kind of shouts in this chapter. And there's a lot of, like...
Tattletale's like, yeah, that's true. It's like, I feel like it's plausible.
No, of course. I'm just saying, like, they haven't read the whole story.
No,
and,
they weren't in Taylor's head.
Yeah. Lisa, Taylor, or Colin is going to be a particularly good, like, person for being like, so here's what happened, everyone. Like, let me get the story straight for you, Legend.
But, like, what Armsmaster said was actually a pretty faithful narration.
No, yeah.
Until he got into the part where it's like, and she was gonna betray her teammates. That's terrible.
Yeah. Oh my God. What a piece of work. Like, I love the choice for him to confess.
Yeah.
It is absolutely...
Because he does think he was right.
It's the right thing narratively.
Yeah.
He absolutely believes in his cause.
Yeah.
Right? And
the cause of Armsmaster. I mean, the cause of all of them being glorious heroes and the city rising.
Yeah. Well, it was for the greater good.
Yeah.
And Armsmaster sucks. He sucks in a lot of ways in terms of his personality. But part of me kind of respects the game.
He did think he could beat Leviathan.
The thing
one-on-one.
is, he's not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, I almost think, like murdering Taylor is an awful thing that he would have to carry to his grave. But I kind of see the world where killing Leviathan, getting Kaiser, Skitter, and Fenya killed as gravy.
I mean, it's certainly plausible to tell himself, like, well, he was going to attack someone, so...
Right.
I'll direct him towards the people he should be attacking.
Right.
And then I'll kill him.
Right. It's kind of the thing where, like, if it had worked and nobody found out, I'm almost, like, gotta hand it to him in some respects. Well, but, given what happened, right, he deserves everything he's gonna get, right? Like, throw the man into the birdcage. He's got to throw himself on the mercy of everyone. And, like, I think everyone will rightly say, you flew too close to the sun, buddy. Like, this was not worth it.
He's been trying so hard.
You shouldn't have done this on your own. And we, as a collective, are going to punish you for it.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I think needs to happen now.
It's funny that Lisa says, like, you could explode a small atom bomb in his face. Because, like, that's the move that Armsmaster was taking, right? It's like, let's kill a few people deliberately now to prevent more casualties from the war going on.
Yeah.
It's, that was the justification behind the bombs in Japan. And, like, obviously him trying to kill a few villains is not on the same scale. But, like, that idea of, like, well, their deaths will prevent the many, many more deaths that would happen if Leviathan is able to continue fighting, which Leviathan was, and many more deaths happened. So Armsmaster wasn't wrong about that. He was just wrong that he could actually take down Leviathan.
Right. And this is a great example. I feel like I was being super hard on Taylor with the Lung thing of, like, do you really know how Lung is going to react to having his eyes carved out? And, like, do you really know that it's going to be better for you to do this than not? And, like, Taylor, I think, a few arcs on, looking back, like, she made the right call. Like, that was a rational thing to do, and seems like it reduced his capabilities, led to him getting captured and all of that. But at the time, I was like, how in control of the situation are you? Take the eyes and leave. And this is the exact example of what I was talking about. Of, like, Armsmaster was exactly in Taylor's position of, I can do this, and it will be the right thing to do. And maybe it's brutal in some respects, but I have the power to do it, and I will. And it's the right thing to do. I know it is the right thing to do. I mean, he sucks and he's wrong, but it's so delicious to have that. I mean, Armsmaster is an amazing foil for Taylor for all of these reasons, right? And even the thing, like, Armsmaster is clearly so into fame and everything, right? But Taylor's not into fame. Part of why she wants to go out...
friends with the Protectorate.
Right. She wants to prove herself. She wants to be the one who took out Lung, and then she can go to the wards and be like, hey, look at me.
It's not
I'm
the
so cool.
main driving force the way it seems to be for Armsmaster, like a thing where, like, he needs this.
Right.
But it is something she cares about.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, what's a good reason for them to hate each other so much? On some level, do they see a little bit of themselves in each other? They like to prepare for things, right? They both...
Taylor's willing to be a villain temporarily. Armsmaster's willing to be a villain in his heart.
Yeah, they're both bossy, right?
Yeah.
They both want to boss each other around. Yeah.
In battle.
And the thing that I loved the most in this chapter was you get that amazing moment, which I have never forgotten, of Armsmaster lunging at Tattletale and pew! Legend spinning him around into the floor, and Miss Militia pulling out her gun, and the hero's basically like... And it's the reason he confesses, too, is like, it's such a crazy story.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm reading it and I'm like, that's crazy even for you, Tattletale. But it's not crazy to Hannah and to Legend. They're like, oh no, this is, like, she says, oh no. They're like, this is true.
That's right.
Like, this is...
Miss Militia sees him in it. She's
right.
like,
It's like,
that is what he would do.
Of course he would do this,
yeah,
right?
It's so plausible. They know, even though, the EMP evidence hasn't come back.
Right. So it's like, it doesn't matter because they're like, yeah, that's him. That's Armsmaster. Yeah. Like, we know it to be true. And Taylor gets that moment here too, where Armsmaster has been insinuating things that are like getting Taylor to be worried and like hoping that the situation will de-escalate. And then when Armsmaster says the like, well, you don't have the whole story about her.
Yeah, she's like, oh no.
Yeah, and she says, Gru, stop him.
Yeah, silence
and Gru
him.
hesitates a little bit.
Yeah.
And then as soon as Armsmaster lays it out, she's a wannabe hero, his arm goes back down. And the way they all react, right, Lisa already knew, but the way the rest of them react, they're like, this explains it, right?
It does explain it.
They all know her well enough to know that this crazy thing that Armsmaster said is 100% true.
Yeah.
So both Armsmaster and Skitter are so themselves that these totally like ludicrous accusations land as being obviously true to the people who know them best.
What a chapter for both of them being unmasked, but not literally.
Yes. Yeah. So I just think it's so fun to have that parallel hammered home in so many ways this chapter.
Yeah. I feel like one of the things we've talked about, what are my buttons in fiction? And one of them is sort of the injustice of authority figures being terrible in, ways that the character doesn't deserve, and there's nothing to check their authority.
Mm-hmm. He says, we have the authority in this chapter. I love it.
And I think one reason that, even though some stuff happened in this chapter that, like I said, Taylor wouldn't have wanted, the fact that Armsmaster got what was coming for him really counteracted that to me. Like, because this is what you want to have happen.
Yeah.
You want the authorities to hold the other authority accountable for being awful.
Yeah.
And he was awful so much in this chapter, even before we knew about his diabolical plan during the battle.
Right.
Yeah. Ooh. I feel like him having an arm missing is a metaphor.
Ooh, yeah. Lay that out. Yeah.
I mean, he's been disarmed. He has had... I feel like it's right there on the face of it. But just like the fact that he was holding on so desperately to this power and everything that he trained to be, the way he's trained his physical body, like everything he's like set up to be absolutely the best he can be. Because he is. He's been working absolutely as hard as he possibly can. And it has been stripped from him. He can't... His name is literally Armsmaster. And he lost one.
Yeah.
It's just everything that made it possible for him to stand in this position has been stripped away.
Right, and it's right. And coming into this chapter, sort of like he's already ruined. Right, he crashes out super hard here, but he's lost his arm. He doesn't have his halberds. His plan failed. He's done this awful thing that on some level he knows is evil.
Right, and even if he hadn't gotten
failed.
caught, he still probably might have tried to be just as successful with one arm. It would have been much harder for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have made a robot arm. I don't know. But like Taylor at the end of the chapter, he kind of has nowhere to run. He was going to be demoted to just be on the team in, Chicago? And now maybe he can still be on the team with a lot of recovery, but he's never going to be as good.
Yeah.
He's also, we said he was 30-ish.
Right.
I guess, I don't know if he's old enough to be realizing I'm at my physical peak. How long can I maintain this?
Yeah.
But he might also have been facing that. And now he's never going to be at that same peak again because he's missing one of his arms.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's also such a great contrast to Taylor and to the other Undersiders, right? It's like, this is a guy who's had an amazing hero career. He's in the V. He's like a top 10, top 12.
Yeah.
Right. And, they're just starting out. They're a couple years into it, right? It's also beautiful, the power of teen sass, right? Armsmaster's losing his temper, and Taylor's like, why does he get to yell? And then that's when he says, we have the authority. And then Gru comes up with the best... Well, you only have the authority that people give you. I'm like, yes, Gru!
That's why I read that in the summary. It's just so good.
It's beautiful. And it's the most, I don't know. the power of teen sass to really undercut a guy.
A blowhard authority figure.
A 30-year-old man having a hissy fit. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
The other point of failure that I noted for Armsmaster in this chapter is that part of his crash out is he's like, you said that my plan never would have worked. Well, I know something you don't know. She's a wannabe hero to Tattletale. Tattletale knew, right? Even that.
That's true. He's like, you don't know everything. She knew.
Even that, he totally fails at.
Yeah,
and
so
I just think, the beautiful, beautiful futility of blowing up Taylor's spot in that moment to prove that Lisa's does not know everything and that not even being true.
Yeah.
Oh, he even says, like, he's better in Scion, right? He's like, I'm doing what Scion should be doing. Doesn't he say something like that?
He's like, I did a better job of almost bringing him down than even Scion did, or something like that.
It was like he's literally, like, that's
God.
how big his ego is.
Yeah. Buddy, just be satisfied. Just enjoy tinkering, okay? Just enjoy your work. You're not good at being in charge of people, and you're not good at being the best in combat. Just be good at it and have fun with it.
Yeah. You know, though, part of his attitude at the beginning of the chapter, right? We do learn Tattletale clears him. He didn't get Aegis and Manpower killed, right?
That's true. That was
Which is, it's important for us to know, because I'm like immediately like, oh my God. Like, he killed, like, the Mr. Indestructible, right? Like, what is wrong with this guy? But no. But what we learned by the end of this chapter, he still believes Taylor was a wannabe hero, which means that in choosing to kill Skitter, it's not like, well, she's clearly decided to be a villain and I don't have to feel guilty that I'm killing villains. He's actually like, well, she's a troubled teenager who's in way over her head and someone I personally hate, and I don't care if she dies.
Yeah.
So, like, it's honestly even worse that she made it through, given that, like, he didn't actually believe that she was a villain when he presumably condemned her to death.
Actually, I was really intrigued to see the last line of his recitation of what Taylor's story here, wanting to be a hero. When he's like, yeah, and she said at the gala, like, I just need to get the information on the boss and then I'll have what I need and I'll give it to you. I guess she still hasn't gotten that detail yet. And I was like, oh, so the Undersiders know. Like,
yes,
they don't actually know that she was never going to betray them, but they know that
that's a really important detail.
Yeah,
I love that.
That what Taylor told Armsmaster at the gala, she did not follow through on.
Yeah.
So if she is in a position sometime soon to say, like, I decided not to betray you all, that is actually a piece of evidence where she can say, like, yeah, you know how Armsmaster said if I had the information on the boss, I would go to him? Like, I was thinking that, but I changed my mind. I had the information on the boss and I didn't go to him.
Yeah,
so
you're right. That's a great, really well-placed detail.
Yes.
To leave that door open a little bit, I guess.
Yeah, it was nice that Armsmaster just told the truth about everything, honestly. Right. Like, yeah.
Right. Part of why this is so satisfying, right, is it's like a little bit of like, if the truth comes to light, then that will lead to justice, right? Like, that is such an important
Love that.
thing to believe in. It's the backbone of so many climaxes of stories, right? Like, it's also kind of like a little bit of a story we tell ourselves to feel better. Like, that's how Law and Order works, is right? They always get it. There's nothing messy or whatever, right? But that's why this payoff feels like so intrinsically good. It's like, right,
it's
this
the
actually
opposite of the principal scene where the truth came out and it didn't result in justice.
Yeah, exactly. And it's still a really messy situation, right? But like, that's why this idea that the truth can come out and make something like this happen, I'm very aware of, like, well, this is, for all that Worm is a very dark and gritty story, this moment almost feels like a little bit of an escapist fantasy. That I'm like, yes, I love that this can happen when compared to, like, the current state of the world.
So, I want to talk about the Undersiders.
Yeah.
So, I don't know whether or not I should have hope of her rejoining them. I don't know if it'll ever make sense for her to rejoin them, because now that they know, I mean, what is she going to say? Like, yes, I'll join you, but I won't do any villainy? Is she going to say, like, no, I've decided to do villainy. I want to be a villain? That feels odd, since she in fact does not want to do villainy. But I do feel like there is emotional potential for them realizing that she wasn't going to betray them. In part because Tattletale knew, as I mentioned. I feel like that does really soften things. And in part because it does make so much sense of her reaction to Dinah and her reaction to a lot of things. I think if they think back on it, they'll be able to see the moment she decided. I don't know if they'll be able to think back on it that clearly. Certainly not in this moment.
Sure.
I think it will take a long time, but they do have Tattletale who can sort of be like, yeah, she was never going to betray us. She thought she was for this period of time, but then she decided she wasn't. And I think the fact that she decided not to betray them because of friendship is going to be relevant, because I think she can credibly say that to them.
Yeah.
And she can point, they have the evidence that she did not betray them at the point at which she told Armsmaster she would.
Right.
So I don't think those bridges are burned, but they're burned much more than they were. Like, Gru shows up and is like our teammate, and she's like, whoa, he thinks I'm his teammate. And I think, like I was saying, the Endbringer fight is going to make the thing with Dinah seem kind of like small potatoes. They thought she was dead. She's alive. They feel great. Of course, they're coming to her rescue.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, Bitch probably told them about the final moments and what she was up to and saving her. And
I think they would have been willing to reconcile with, some apologies after this Endbringer fight. And now, I don't really know what you said. The arc's not over. More stuff is going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen. I feel like it's going to have to be something like this chapter where I can't even see it coming, because I'm like, what are the pieces that are going to fall into place now? She's running. I still think she's going to try to find Danny. Who knows if her house is even standing?
Yeah.
I feel like Tattletale will probably reach out to her if she still has a cell phone or something that she can talk to her on. Because Tattletale knew, and I want to see that conversation. That would be so fun. Yeah, Tattletale's the only one who's not reeling from this. The others are going to need some time to let that settle before they can even think about whether or not they're going to forgive her. Tattletale could talk to her. I still want her to end up, connecting with New Wave. I realize that, Victoria's sort of terrible and has, isn't going to be thrilled about the idea of forgiving her. And I feel there's something redeemable with Amy, who's also a little terrible, but...
Yeah, it's funny. I see it.
Yeah.
I see the connection there, but in this chapter, in the past few chapters, just thinking about how Taylor feels about Amy and how Amy feels about Taylor, it just seems like it's mutual bad vibes, right? They have not been good to each other.
No,
it's a long
that's
story.
True.
It's a long story.
Yeah, but Amy healed her. She didn't do anything terrible to her.
Well...
she did mess with her head.
That we know of yet. She threatened it could happen years down the line. Yeah, we'll see how far the story goes.
Yeah. I think Amy takes not screwing up people's bodies too seriously for that.
That's
and she
fair.
got the revenge through the mind games.
If she can't, if she stops believing that she's actually a good person, then that would be bad.
Oh, then all bets are off.
Yeah,
ooh, that's really
bad.
true.
So she can't actually follow through on her threats.
Yeah. Okay, so you're making me skeptical of it, but I want that to happen.
But what about Skitter and Laser Dream?
That's true. No, they had that nice connection, sort of, where they saved each other's lives.
Yeah.
But, Taylor's not going to want to go connect with anyone right now, so...
Yeah.
But who knows what's going to happen? I wonder if the whole Leviathan thing is fully over for now. I guess it must be. Scion chased him out to sea.
I don't think we've heard of anything about,
I kind of want, it to happen that, Alexandria will be like, we've gotten this intel from Tattletale, and putting that together with everything else we learned in this fight, we have to track him down now and end him. I don't know.
And we'll invite the Bug Girl.
Well, all the heroes who are standing. I mean, it would be a terrible
happen
timing.
off screen.
Yeah.
Interlude. Yeah. Could be a good interlude. I like it.
They would invite anyone who can go. I don't know.
I do have an alternate read on here I am with my more cynical read on Legend, my more cynical read on Gru.
Okay.
Right. Skitter was off the team. Yeah. Maybe she's back on the team, but nobody knows Skitter is off the team. And here are the Undersiders watching Armsmaster push her around. And maybe he feels like, look, we can sort things out with Skitter later. We're going to have to talk to her later, but I cannot stand by and let one of my villains get pushed around like this so publicly. And part of what he's doing and coming over is hey,
saving face.
Even though you're on the Protectorate, you can't treat an Undersider like that.
Yeah.
So
standing up for the reputation of the Undersiders.
Yeah.
That is fair. But I do think there was something to be lost in Armsmaster's speech about her.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And the fact that there is this audience of other capes. Trickster has his phone out and he's recording it, right? New Wave is here and they here and there's some other people around, right? That matters so much. And it really struck me that for all that we've talked about, like, cape society and the procedures and the protectorate and stuff, the cape world is small enough that Armsmaster's personality is incredibly important at determining what happens, right? Mm-hmm. That Panacea's personality is so incredibly important at determining what happens in these few chapters, where it feels like a million things could have gone just a little bit differently and sent the ball spinning off in different directions, right? And so this idea of, like, you know, how important the optics are, I feel like it's a little bit like, oh, it's cynical. All they care about is how they look, what their reputation is. They don't really have values that are backing these things up. But it's also like the world is small enough that if all of the people in this room leave with a bad impression of Armsmaster, Miss Militia, and Legend, even if that's all it is,
a lot will fall apart.
A lot will fall apart because each individual is so powerful and there are so few of them.
Yeah, especially after that fight they just had.
And again, it's like, oh, the Endbringer truce, the Endbringer truce. Well, couldn't they just violate the truce and then, like, cover it up because they're the authorities? It's like, well, not really, because they have power, but they don't have that kind of power, right? Like, it's not quite a, you know, everything Legend says goes, you know, up is down, left is right, you know, like he can't intimidate Trickster into silence about...
It's the problem with working with fellow capes, as Coyle is learning.
Yeah, exactly. And so it really was a fun chapter for thinking about that. And I feel like it puts the superhero genre in keeping with a lot of, like, traditional fantasy or whatever, where it's like, oh, it's all of the nobles or all of the people, like, sort of the quote-unquote important people.
All the history mages,
the history of monarchies, right? Where it's just these, like, really weird people that have so much power over what happens, and getting to know who they are is so important to understanding, like, actual history, right? Like, this king was weird, and so a bunch of people died and some other stuff happened, right? It's very similar to how, like, Armsmaster has these certain problems, this really big head, and oh boy, buddy, did you ever mess a bunch of stuff up and make a bunch of things happen that wouldn't have happened otherwise. And it's really fun.
Yeah, they have structures, but it's mostly people. And it hasn't been long enough for there to have been much turnover at the top, I would imagine.
No.
Because it's only been a couple decades that capes have been this powerful, this numerous.
Yeah.
So the people who are in charge are mostly the people who have been in charge. So they aren't structures independent of personalities.
Yeah.
It was fun to get so much about the truce in this chapter. Like, we'd heard, it had been implied by the arrival of all the villains to fight the Endbringer. But hearing just how vital it is, how that's really what keeps the villains coming to fight the Endbringers, and how without that, the Endbringers would be much more destructive even than they are.
Right.
Yeah, it's just something that the tenuous safety of society from the Endbringers rests on.
Right.
And tenuous is maybe not even a strong enough word. Like, these Endbringers are awful and they need better solutions. So they can't destroy the ones they have, even if they aren't very good. But I really hope this story is... I mean, how could this story not do something about the Endbringers? Like, they're such a huge problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple other thoughts about the situation at large. I was thinking, right, when the Endbringer came, they had time to make those flyers about where to meet at the hotel.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, the cape who can make a lot of pamphlets must have been killed by Leviathan. Because why not give Taylor a piece of paper that just lays out the situation, right? I feel like one little informational pamphlet being like, hello, you're a villain. Like, you're chained here, you know, like, this is how triage works, right? Like, come on, right? Like,
Yes.
Clearly, they don't have their stuff together.
Great point.
A bunch of the head capes had gotten knocked out. You know, like, it was not only a bad day, it was seems like it was one of the worst days, right?
But, you know, it's not like this is the first fight. They should have had steps in place for that to happen. Like, they had a whole triage area. They couldn't have taken that step.
And like, my point
about... Taylor gets to fill out a feedback survey.
Right? Well, and also, Panacea should have known better than to talk to Taylor, right? Like, Skitter talks about, well, you guys were coming to arrest me, and Armsmaster is like, okay, so, yeah, Panacea talked to her, but she's part of New Wave. Like, this isn't official. On us, right? Yeah. Right? Like, because to me, that's like, Legend's gonna be like, well, what the fuck are you doing? We got sued. Like, the whole point is you don't talk to the villains. Like, that's the rule, right? Like, so of course it's not being followed, and it's, you know, Panacea should have known better as well. I also, like, I feel like Legend, again, trying to look at him from both sides, he does make this argument to Taylor about equity. That's sort of like, well, but you would want us to take this seriously if you had been unmasked, right? Hero or villain, it doesn't matter, right? But at that moment, Armsmaster is pinning her to the table, which really gives the lie to that sentiment,
yeah,
right?
Taylor's and like, I doubt that Shadowstalker would be bent over this counter like I am. Yeah.
Right. And so, like, you can't assume, and certainly Taylor does not assume in this chapter, that Sophia is just a bad apple, right? Yeah, here is Armsmaster.
She has a whole speech about it, or thought about it.
Yeah. But Armsmaster is proving that she is right about everything. She is right to not trust authority. She is right that there are people with thumbs on the scales looking to get her killed. Yeah. Right? Like,
oh, yeah.
Right? Just like,
definitely. That's why Armsmaster tried to get her killed.
Who are running the show, right? And so, to me, it's really an open question to me. I feel like all we've seen, we got Hannah seems like a good person.
Yeah.
Unclear how much she is wielding the power that she has, so much as going through with things here. Here she does use her power to help keep Armsmaster pinned down, so that's good. Legend, this is kind of our first impression of him. We have good feelings about him so far. Yeah. And in Interlude 3, right, like, there were some structures for the wards, right? Yeah. Like, they were honestly being kind of hard on them as just like teenagers, but like it's certainly taken like optics seriously, making sure that they do good stuff and not bad stuff. And I feel like the thing that doesn't come up in this chapter, and Taylor can't let it, is that Shadowstalker bullied Taylor so hard that it created Skitter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And to me, just thinking in terms of how the heroes in the situation, right, like, that's a bad headline, right? Yeah. Like, I don't blame Taylor
Shadowstalker gave me my trigger event.
Right. I don't blame Taylor for assuming the worst. Not at all. But I do wonder how things would have gone if that final secret comes out in this moment.
Oh, God. I want that to happen now. I want Taylor to... I'm sure Coyle could make this happen. I want Taylor to go to the media and not say that she's Skitter, but just say that Shadowstalker filled a locker with tampons and shoved me into it.
Yeah. Oh.
Like, right?
Taylor making moves as a civilian. I love
Right.
that.
She doesn't have to say, and it turned me into a cape.
Right.
She can just say, this is what Sophia has as Shadowstalker, and this is what she did to me over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Even if everyone's like, well, there might be a second side to the story, like, what a blow to Shadowstalker and the whole Wards program. That would be delicious.
Well, it's funny because we talk about this collateral option. We get this whole story about how, like, a villain was targeting a hero and basically
like,
it was
clearly on purpose.
Basically, they were like, yeah, this is going to end with one of them killing the other one. And so we have to, like, even the scales. And that's where this collateral idea comes around. Taylor has nowhere to run to, but actually she runs away with a huge piece of leverage, which is that not that she could pick Shadowstalker out of a crowd of civilians, but that she knows who she is. Nobody knows that she knows, like, literally who she is, where she is at all times, her whole deal, and has a reason to hate her. Right?
It's so funny, actually. Armsmaster's like, don't say what you know. And I was like, what do you think she could say? Shadowstalker has a face? Like, what do you think she could, like, verbally convey what Shadowstalker looks like? Like, she's a teenage girl, she's black. Like, what could you say that would actually be compromising in that situation?
Well, the only thing I can think of is it's like, well, of course, villains are going to be, using that information. The Undersiders just doxed Empire 88, so of course they're going to start doxing the Wards next. It feels very...
I don't know that they think that the Undersiders doxed Empire 88.
I feel like it's that kind of conspiratorial thinking, and that's very much Armsmaster in his mode of trying to, like, imagine Skitter in the worst light possible. Like, she's a master
But it's also
liar.
just kind of stupid where, like, it's such a leap to think that Skitter got information that could be verbalized from that encounter.
Yeah.
Unless, for some reason, Armsmaster knows who Skitter is.
Yeah.
Taylor did conjecture that at least one of the trio can recognize my voice. Shadowstalker has heard me talk as Skitter.
Yeah.
It's possible she knows who I am.
Yeah.
I don't think she really gave that a lot of credence.
Well, we had talked, because she would have heard her voice at the gala, probably. But we were reflecting last episode that we feel like Sophia would have said different stuff.
Yeah, at the bookshop.
Right? So,
I think so too.
Not saying that Sophia couldn't be keeping her cards close.
But... Well, unless Armsmaster just independently found out who Skitter is, which I guess he could have. Was doing research on the Undersiders, so he could have found that out. Yeah. I was thinking that was the only way Armsmaster would have known, because if Armsmaster does know who Taylor is, then he knows that she knows Sophia and has been bullied by her. Yeah. And in that case, I mean, what are you doing keeping her in the wards? But
yeah, so how much do they care?
Yeah, they obviously don't care really a little understand the severity of it, probably.
Right, they obviously care a little bit, but what are they hoping to get out of the situation? They present her a choice, but is it really a choice? You can go to the birdcage, go to jail forever, right? You can reveal your secret identity, or you can join the wards. And so, like, maybe they're just like, yeah, Skitter, she escaped, it's annoying, Armsmaster hates her, but maybe they're just like, this is leverage we can use to get her to join the wards, right? She saw one of the wards' faces, she might as well just join the wards now, right?
Like, that probably is their
I kind of
goal,
feel like Taylor's so worried about them punishing her. She's so often paranoid land, and again, for good reason, but like, I do kind of wonder if it's like, well, this is a big deal, but like, maybe that's also kind of why their backroom dealing it is a little bit of like, this doesn't have to be a big deal. We were going to ask you to join the wards anyway. If you join the wards, you would see everybody's faces. Let's just pretend that things happened in a different order, right? You know, like, I feel like that's a little bit where they were coming from with that.
Yeah.
I am also so glad, because to me, this is now like a theory that I have on this read through, that because of the events in this chapter, it's clear that things aren't going to go this way, at least not in the short term, but that the heroes were like, you know what, let's recruit the Undersiders, right? Like, Panacea...
They were heroic, they all showed up to the fight.
Right, Panacea fucks it up, Sophia fucks it up, Armsmaster fucks it up. Even without that, I think Coil makes it a very difficult situation, right? For this to actually
go...
About
Coil.
Exactly, but for this to actually go well for the heroes. But I like it for them that they see the value in the Undersiders, because they're clearly an incredibly good team, right? At this point in the story, they have proven their value time and time again, and it is only right that the heroes are like, I don't know, they're teens. Maybe we could work on it.
I wonder if they always do this at Endbringer fights. If they say who showed up, who was fighting, heroically or whatever.
Who's gettable.
Yeah. Because obviously they don't want people to be villains. They want them to be heroes.
Right.
And if they're able to say, like, we can give you some kind of probationary status, you can have a legitimate career. You don't have to worry about being sent to the birdcage. Like, you clearly want to help people. You showed up to this fight.
Yeah. They see value in Sophia.
Exactly.
Right? Like, to Taylor, that's like, they're rotten to the core if they can countenance Sophia's presence in the wards program. But it's also kind of a testament to, like, you know what? She's a vigilante. Like, let's give her a second chance. Let's give her a second chance. She hasn't shown that she deserves it in the story so far.
And they don't know about the locker incident, because Taylor didn't tell anyone who did that.
Yeah.
That didn't come up in the principal meeting, I don't think.
They didn't know until very recently, perhaps.
Oh, that is true. Yeah.
Oh, the locker in particular. Yeah,
I don't think anyone knows about that.
The bullying.
And it's such a difficult thing, right? Because on the one hand, you don't want a system that's incredibly punitive towards any cape who breaks the law, and you want them to be able to get these second chances. It would be great if they could join the heroes. That's such a better outcome. And that also kind of does something to alleviate the demonization of villains, right? It's like, oh no, you can cross over. You could become one of us. You could help us. This would be great. But on the other hand, when you have such powerful individuals being given this level of authority, like, what was it, Battery and Shadowstalker were like supervising all the people at that mall and had the authority to basically do whatever they wanted with them. You have, like you were saying, the personalities like Armsmaster can influence so much just by who he is as a person. When these individuals are given such authority and status, it's incredibly risky and morally questionable to do that with people who have these sort of sullied track records. But it's not even really just about the track records. It's also about, like, what kind of person are they? Even if Shadowstalker hadn't, almost killed someone in her vigilante action, she's still a terrible person. Maybe they wouldn't know that. And how do you put individuals on pedestals like this without being absolutely sure that they deserve it? And the fact that they have a superpower just doesn't automatically make them deserve it.
Yeah.
And this was Taylor's thought at the mall.
Yeah. And this is my question to you, like, it's just based on where they are now, right? Not saying where they're going to go in the future, but this is my question to you about Amy, is like, based on what she knows now about Skitter, can she make that leap in her head, right? Like, what would it take for her to believe that Taylor's a good person?
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really interesting question.
I mean, I do think her suppositions about Taylor have been really shaken up, stripped away by listening to Armsmaster say that, and Tattletale confirm it, and Skitter turn and run away. I feel like she might not like her at this point. She might not trust her, but she might be saying like, oh, when I was talking to her earlier and I was like, if you think you're a good person, you're deluded. Maybe that wasn't so clear-cut a statement as I thought it was. Oh, crap. Like,
and I mean, the thing is...
It's a great thing to realize at age 15. Perfect age for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, she's struggling with almost the opposite problem. Like, as we saw in Interlude 3, is she's so afraid that she's a bad person. Right.
And it helps her to believe that, okay, but the villains are really bad people. Right. And then she sees one of these people who she accused of being like a villain and a terrible person. She's like, oh wow, there's actually this really complicated backstory where maybe she was trying to do a good thing by bringing down the other villains. And
so maybe it could something nice. Yeah.
I do think it's going to be part of Amy's development in whatever direction she goes, realizing like, oh, it's not that clear cut. Ooh, I made some really bad suppositions. I don't know that it leads directly to her being like, what if I'm actually bad? But I do think that thought is already lurking in her head, so it could easily pop up in reaction to anything. Yeah. So this sort of complication could shake that loose a little bit. Or it could just lead her to thinking differently about Taylor, Skitter. Yeah. I want to go just briefly to Taylor's thoughts about Sophia at the beginning. She, is horrified. And she thinks about what might have happened to Emma. She thinks like maybe this is the like missing piece that explains why Emma stopped being friends with me. She says, it would have been an exciting revelation, a juicy secret being part of the Cape community. Seduced by that drama, Emma would have turned her back on me, become Sophia's best friend, the civilian sidekick and confidant to the young heroine. It was cliche, but cliches had their basis in something. As soon as I read that, I was like, okay, so she thinks she's figured it out. This is obviously not true. I wrote that in my notes. And then I read the next paragraph, which says, I was probably wrong on some levels. I was like, oh, okay, so she knows. But it gave answer to questions I'd assumed I'd never get an answer to. I did not assume that. I'm assuming we'll get an answer. Yeah. So I think there's a grain of truth there. I think we're probably a step closer to understanding why Emma turned on Taylor. I also think Taylor's assumption, she says, did this mean Emma was a cape too? No, I'd seen Emma in the presence of other capes. At those times, I knew she'd have a reason to be in costume if she had powers. We don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, to me it invites an interesting question of spot the cape, right? So is the theory that Emma is someone we've seen, or just, someone who hasn't been mentioned, or that she's not publicly a cape?
I think she's not publicly a cape. That's my theory. I mean, it's also possible... We haven't really
seen that, and that's a really fun possibility.
I don't know who she could possibly be among the wards. Even if she were in the wards, there is a chance that, maybe some of the wards wouldn't be in costume at the gala just because... it's good to protect secret identities. Sometimes show up at cape things with your civilian face on. Or, maybe she just wasn't on duty that day in the mall. But I think, this is kind of what I posited before, that Sophia and Emma, and I guess probably also Madison, became capes in the same trigger event. They were maybe vigilantes together or working not entirely together, and Sophia got in trouble. And had to join the wards. And maybe Emma's power isn't actually one that lends itself to combat. Maybe she's not a vigilante. Maybe she is just using it in her normal life to, make her life better. And
the way Lisa was before she got...
Yeah. But maybe Sophia's the one of the three who had a combat-appropriate power and then got caught and had to join the wards, and the other two are just, still flying under the radar. There must be tons of rogues out there who haven't confessed their power to anyone.
Yeah.
Like Dinah.
Yeah, and we haven't seen, a sort of a new power's on the scene. Ping, 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 ping. We know that there's a power and we're going to go find out who it is.
We don't have, Professor X's, mutant
Right.
Spear
I mean, we don't know that we don't have that, but we haven't seen any
Yeah.
evidence of that. Yeah.
So I think Taylor dismissing that Emma could be a cape was too hasty, which makes it slightly more likely that she is a cape in my mind.
Yeah.
But either way, I think that her thing where it's Emma found out Sophia was a cape and was seduced by the glamour, that's not nearly a big enough reason to make Emma not only end a lifelong friendship, but torment Taylor for the next year and a half. Absolutely not. There needs to be something more to it than that. As Taylor herself admits.
Yeah.
But Taylor doesn't think we'll get answers, and I'm reading a story, so I think we will.
Well, I've said the questions get answered. I'm not saying which particular questions. Yeah.
You said the ones I care about, so I assume if I choose to care about a question, that means it'll get
You
answered.
that's a good loophole. I like that.
If it doesn't get answered, you'll just have to come up with an answer for me because of this promise you made.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Taylor in this chapter, it's so interesting, right? Taylor is back to her Arc 1 self. She's so passive. She barely talks. All she says is no. She's like, no, not doing it.
Sorry, that won't work for me.
And from the outside, totally bonkers. Absolutely ridiculous thing. She says no to the ward. She says no to the collateral. She doesn't explain it. She's choosing the birdcage. What are Legend and Miss Militia going to think? They're like, what is the deal with Skitter here, right? And of course, it totally makes sense from her perspective, right? But
they don't know
she can't
knows
give
Sophia.
voice to it,
yeah.
right? At the end, when all of her dirty laundry is aired, she's like, I just couldn't find any words. My throat was dry, right?
Yeah.
Unlike Armsmaster, who's happy to be like, yeah, I did it, and I'm awesome. Right. She's not at a point emotionally where she can be like...
She'd be like, yeah, I am a hero.
But don't worry, Gru. I never would betray you. Or whatever. She would never say something like that. But it is also clear to me, right, that she is so in shock and distracted by the Sophia thing, right? Mm-hmm. She keeps thinking, her thoughts keep getting pulled to Sophia. And she is not locking in and figuring out what she wants to get out of the situation. She's feeling emotionally I'd rather go to the birdcage than be in the wards. She's not thinking about that, right? She's not coming to a conclusion there. She even thinks she has that again where she's she blurts out no.
Without thinking.
Then we get two paragraphs where she says, of course not. Not with the likes of Sophia and Armsmaster and Glory Girl and Panacea.
What I've seen of the heroes is not inspiring, but she does say it without thinking. And
right, exactly. So she's so wrecked, right?
Yeah.
And
I mean, she just got through the Endbringer fight, the Dinah revelation, the fight with her team, the Endbringer fight, her back being broken and then healed, her thinking she was going to be arrested and then escaping, the Sophia revelation. This girl needs a nap.
Yeah, well, it's 100% true, but in the climax of this arc, right, our protagonist does nothing. She gets dragged around. She says no several times. Mm-hmm. And she gets saved by people who she wants to be her friends. Mm-hmm. People who maybe are, some of them, her friends, or were until the end of this chapter.
Lisa isn't still her friend.
Right? And do you know who ends this chapter more alone than Skitter? Armsmaster.
Yeah.
Right? This is a chapter where everything comes crashing down for these two people.
Yeah.
And we see a little bit the power of friendship. These connections that she has made that she has enough cred with, at the very least, Tattletale and Gru, that they're going to come to her aid and rescue her, right? Even though it all gets exploded again by the end of the chapter. Yeah. But I love that the investment that she has made in friendship saves her here, right? She gets herself alive to the triage tent, but she needs her friends to get her out of the end of the arc.
Well, actually, Bitch gets her alive to the triage tent.
That's true.
So that's
of course.
Another
that's of course
thing.
No, but that proves my point even better.
Oh yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, and also potentially we don't really know. At the end, she like starts to leave, and the Undersiders don't come after her. We don't know if it's that they couldn't really get around the heroes, or they just decided not to. She like it's unclear.
Yeah.
But if they believe what Armsmaster just said, which seems like they do. She's a huge danger to them. They should try to take her out.
Yeah.
But they don't move to do that, perhaps because of the bonds, perhaps because Tattletale seems chill about it.
Yeah, I buy that Bitch is genuinely angry about this.
Oh, yeah.
I buy that Alec is genuinely disgusted.
But
no telling how Brian's feeling.
They don't seem to be worried that she's about to blow up their spot.
That is true.
They're not like, quick, get her before she confesses to the Protectorate.
Yeah, well, there's a lot we don't know there. There's a lot that we don't know there.
Yeah. Random thought. I am so curious about the case that Miss Militia cites of like, this happened before, like years ago, before the birdcage was built. A villain tried deliberately to get a hero's, see a hero's face. And, that villain wasn't an appropriate candidate, wasn't Protectorate material. I won't say the reasons why, something like that. And I was like, what is this story? What is this?
This is actually, I'll just say, I don't know if we get this story later.
No.
Like, this is a thing where I was like, I feel like I should, this feels like foreshadowing that like I should be picking up on a reread, but it didn't ping for me. So I'll need, when this episode comes out, hopefully someone will tell me if we're supposed to know this story. I wouldn't be surprised. There are a lot of characters, even a lot we haven't met yet. So
you've only read it once? Is that true?
Correct. This is my first reread. Though it is the kind of story where you sit down and you're like, I'm going to read that one scene again, and then you end up reading like 5 chapters. So that's definitely happened.
So
a few
you've
times.
like spot read.
I've spot read a few bits of it. Yeah. We sort of already said this, but like that emotion that she's feeling when she's like, I can never work with the heroes, is like contempt. That's what she's feeling, which that's like, they say that's one of the 4 horsemen of relationship turning sour is when you are expressing contempt for your partner. That's so hard to come back from emotionally, right? Like it's a very toxic feeling. And so I feel like this is, it's like gaslighting, like giving people the silent treatment. I forget exactly.
Okay.
But yeah, it's one of those. Contempt, it's one of those like, watch out for these 4 things. Criticism, I think, is another one. But contempt is the one that feels most true to me in real life and is also, like, what she is feeling here. But, like, just, it's so hard to build a relationship with someone you feel contempt for, right? If that's the depth of the emotion. And, yeah, I feel like Taylor is like, well, have they been giving Sophia special treatment? And, like, I really want to know. There's a lot riding for me on the answer to that question. Yeah. And, like, this is also, like, why I'm sort of skeptical of Legend. It's like, everything that happens is so validating to Taylor, but I'm like, how much is it Sophia and Armsmaster versus, it's rotten all the way to the top, right? Like, I'm really interested in this question, and I feel like we were saying about the heroes wanting to bring Sophia in, right? Like, the labels that are so confounding to Amy and Taylor are so much more about, like, the social role that you play than whether you're a good or bad person, right? What Amy cares about is, like, am I a good person, right? Taylor also cares about that a lot, too. And, like, they keep conflating that question with whether they're a hero or a villain. And, like, that's just, they're totally different things, right? Heroes and villains are social roles.
I remember asking at the beginning, like, what makes someone a hero or a villain? How is that defined? And I feel like someone in the Discord was like, I mean, it's villainy. And you're like, oh, I guess. I mean, okay, they're criminal. Okay, this makes sense. But, like, I feel like the question just gets more and more complicated as you go through.
But, like, it would be unfair to say, like, Sophia is a bad person and a hero, right? She's a probationary hero. But, it would be wrong to say she's
hero is a social category. Yes.
Right. It would be wrong to say she is a villain by how everyone in this world talks about villains. Right, exactly. And in the same way, we keep saying, we've hit this beat over and over again, like, Taylor's being such a hero.
Oh, yeah, she's such a hero.
We're not
she's
talking,
not a hero.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because in fact,
she's a wannabe hero, as Armsmaster says.
Right. Because part of the social role of hero is submitting to authority, and she has yet to do
she
that.
Refuses
right.
To
like,
do that.
like
That's
so,
true.
like, but we're talking about something else, right? We're not talking about the social role.
We're not talking about the red tags and the blue tags.
Exactly.
Which is
so
how it's categorized.
Here. I really loved. I feel like that this chapter clicked something into place for me about that, and it's fun to ask all of those questions, right? Like, is Taylor acting heroically? Is she a hero, quote unquote? And is she a good person? 3 very different questions, and ones that are fun to kind of approach at different times. I really, really want to crow about Lisa.
Okay, go
I love her so much. She's amazing.
She does so well in this.
She hobbles over on crutches.
Oh my gosh,
it emphasizes so much that you don't need a physical power to be a big timer. And we learn the term thinker. Lisa's
Level
a thinker 7, and she's like, ooh, 7. Yeah, thanks. the way that she flounces away, where she's like, you guys never let me talk, right? She's making sure Trickster and everyone are still paying attention to the scene, right? Yeah. She's acting for the crowd. And there's a part of it you could say, like, this is too easy. How could Tattletale figure out all of this stuff? Like, it's kind of a cheat code that she gets to just, like, you know, figure out all of this stuff. But
that's her power.
That's her power, and we know how hard she works, right?
Yeah, we've seen it.
I've said already, like, in this episode, I think Legend's concern for optics and discomfort with the way Armsmaster's treating Skitter, that's an angle that Tattletale successfully works through the rest of this. And when she starts talking over the armband, Armsmaster reaches for his halberd as if to use the EMP to silence an armband. And I wonder if Tattletale doesn't have quite all of the pieces until he does that, right? Oh. This is the act of somebody who's so comfortable. Armband, I know how to take out an armband if he reaches for the EMP.
That's a good question.
And I wonder, like, how much is she just... Like, I know there's something here, and I'm saying stuff. I'm looking at Legend's face. Oh, it's
looking at Armsmaster's face.
Right, I'm starting to say stuff about Armsmaster, and Miss Militia believes me. Oh, I know that I can go in for the kill, right? Like, I believe that this is not like she had a script and she's not a puppet master. She's scrapping. She's coming into this. She's coming into this with an end goal in mind, but I think
she's absolutely an improv
she's fighting
artist.
for it's all improv, and that is why I love her so much. That she's constantly dancing.
I feel like if we hadn't seen that interlude, this still would have been satisfying, but it would have seemed like, oh, of course Tattletale knows this. And now I'm imagining her in that conversation with Alexandria, getting all the pieces and building from it. She probably, like you said, this didn't occur to me, but I think you're right, didn't have all the pieces until she was here, and she is absolutely, like, thinking on her feet here. But she must have such a bad headache. I mean, presumably her power has become stronger with use, but she probably already has the migraine. I mean... Yeah. She was in that hospital bed for a while.
And she's ducking and weaving behind the other Undersiders, so Miss Militia doesn't have a clear shot on her. It's so good. And, like, also, we were talking about this a little before, but, like...
On crutches.
Right, Armsmaster's like, she's a thinker 7. And, like, Legend's like, oh, fuck that. Like, that's a bad rating. I'm like Mr. Lasers. Like, get her out of here, right? And he gets totally owned by her, right? She is in complete command of the situation.
I mean, I don't think she snows him at all.
Yeah. But it goes differently if she's not allowed to talk.
Oh, certainly.
Right. Yeah. And like they almost made sort of the quote unquote right call. It's just she had the armband worked around.
Right.
Guest
She's
Colin's
too powerful.
password.
Oh, yeah. Imagine how hard she was working during that conversation, just because she probably didn't... Well, maybe she did have Armsmaster's password before that, but she probably didn't have his armband password before this scene, so she was trying to put together that password and come up with this plan.
Actually,
and
maybe right before she flounces away, she knows she has the password, right? Like, she's doing stuff with Armsmaster long enough to do the cold reading on him.
Yeah.
What I would give for... I mean, this is just a great fic idea, is writing the Lisa Zero to Hero from, like, In Bed with Alexandria to the end of this chapter.
In Bed with Alexandria, that's what we'll call it.
Not like that.
I'd write that too. Alexandria might be a little old for her. But...
Yeah, right. Yeah, she's probably older than Armsmaster. I also love, we get another false choice from Lisa. She's like, this can go one of 3 ways. You end the truce, I end the truce, or you let Skitter go. And she gets her way, right? That's a choice that's not a choice. In the same way that Legend's choice, he thinks, isn't really a choice. And I guess maybe Collateral or Wards is a genuine choice. I want to give him more credit that Taylor actually had a choice in this chapter. She didn't feel that she did. But
right. Neither of those options was viable for her.
Lisa's kind of pulling the Amy also of like, well, you can not let me heal you, but you're gonna let me.
It's a bad choice, but that's one of your options.
Right. And so I do like this also as kind of a theme of like when the person with the power is calling the shots, there's always a little song and dance about like,
here are your choices.
Here are your choices. It's the same thing that Coil does, right? It's like, you can work with me or not. Whatever you want.
Continue your little costumed hijinks.
Yeah, I'd like to buy your services, and Lisa thinks, "Oh, this isn't a choice,
yeah,
right?"
She knows how to give choices that aren't choices. Yeah. She's gotten one.
It's another fun theme to keep picking on. Yeah, I feel like, you know, this chapter is so packed with stuff. Like, there's a heartbreaking description of how Bitch is looking and feeling, right? Like, there's a lot of good stuff that we just can't do justice to. Read Worm. Read this chapter again. It's a really good chapter.
It's true.
But yeah, I mean, now, Skitter's business is kind of an open secret. She's got nowhere to go. What's going on? One more chapter of this arc.
I still think now that she has nowhere to go, she's going to try to make sure Danny's okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't even really know what else to predict. I feel like I've made some sort of longer term predictions about like how the Undersiders will take this. I think maybe Lisa reaches out to her in the next chapter.
Yeah.
I don't know what else.
Well,
I assume there are so many cape names.
There are 3.
Oh my gosh.
Do you want the cape names or do you want the sentence?
Let's get the cape names first.
Flame Falcon.
Flame Falcon. Okay, so here's my global prediction about these cape names. As we've said, hard to get into town for one of these fights. Like, the turnaround's really fast. There's not a lot of warning time. Even, you know, you're stalling an Endbringer for Scion. If you're across the country, maybe you can't get there in time.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of capes who are probably just now getting to the area to help with the reconstruction, stabilize the topography, etc. So I think Flame Falcon is a flyer with fire.
Flyer with fire. That's great. I think Fireflyer would be a better name than Flame Falcon.
Or even Firefly.
Interesting.
It's right there.
Interesting. It is right there. But if you're named Firefly, then Taylor can control you. So I feel like anyone with a bug name is going to be changing their name. Steel Eagle.
Wow, there's a theme here. I think this is sort of a glory girl type. Because we talked about how flyers need invulnerability of some sort because flying's really hard on the body. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's more like Worse Alexandria again.
Okay, love it. Yeah. Do you want to guess the third name?
Ooh, okay. We had Falcon, we had Eagle, we have... Okay, what's another good... I feel like all the other birds of prey I'm coming up with are like less common household names. I'm like Osprey, Harrier...
Harrier is actually a really good cape name for a bird-themed cape. Right?
That's
like
true,
a slightly
actually.
Annoying flyer. That's a really good cape name. Right? Steal that for your OC listeners.
Yeah. All right, let's go with Razor Raptor.
Razor Raptor kind of rhymes. Laserhawk.
Hawk. Oh my god. There it is. That's the one that I was trying to come up with. I was going more obscure. It's Hawk.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Laserhawk.
Nice.
What do they do?
Worst Legend, obviously.
Yeah. Or Worst Laser Dream.
Laser Dream is already Worst Legend. Plus Force Fields.
Wow. Owned. Completely shut down. You're right. Yeah, when you're right, you're right. All right.
Legend is like top 10. I don't think Laser Dream's up there.
Well, who among us is not a Worst Legend? It was so funny that Armsmaster said, "We would have been legends," and he's standing right there. Do you want to hear the sentence?
Yes, I do.
How was a city like Brockton Bay
ever going to recover from the Endbringer damage?
Wah, wah, wah.
Yeah, no. I do think we'll get some good, footage of Taylor in the city seeing the devastation.
Yeah.
And I'm really curious if her house will be standing. I think yes. That's my prediction. I think her house will still be there. Because I kind of feel like the hassle of, like, Danny going through, like, getting a new and all this stuff, like, I don't know, that feels tangential to the story. But as soon as I said that, I'm torn. Because on the one hand, I think it's a better symbol of, like, she can't go home again if her house is gone. On the other hand, her home is sort of a problem for her because it's, like, a temptation and it's something that brings her shame because she feels like she's, like, betrayed what she's supposed to be, and that's so tied up with Danny and the house and, So I think on balance, I think the house will still be there.
Yeah, this chapter doesn't necessarily make it any easier for her to have that that conversation that she needs to have with him.
No.
And something like House Destroyed is more of a forcing function. So it's interesting to see.
I would love her to have an honest conversation with Danny.
Yeah.
I don't know that she is psychologically in a place where she could, but she did just have everyone else stripped away. And maybe that's the narrative opening that's needed
that's
for
a good
that.
point.
Because he would just be such a good person to have on your side.
Yeah.
If he can manage not to get authoritarian about it, which I think he probably learned from his
mistakes. And
mistakes.
if he managed not to get killed by a tidal wave.
Also that.
Yeah.
I don't think he was killed by a tidal wave, because again, that's too easy.
Yeah.
I mean, devastating, but I think her relationship with Danny is such a good ingredient.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. Well, to the last chapter of the Extermination arc.
Ted has told me that so much happens in these chapters, and he's been right so far. So I imagine that it's very long, and I don't know, Brockton Bay is going to go into space by the end of it.
It's a really good chapter. Good.
All right. I'll look forward to it.
Yeah.
Next time.
On Inchworm. Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.